G'day everyone. I thought we'd make another video today to look a bit further into Realmworks and Hero Labs, and based on some discussions we had on the forums, we had a bit of a discussion going on about the interaction between Hero Labs and Realmworks, and it got me thinking about the different ways you can create monsters. So we'll just have a bit of a look at that tonight and show you some of the ways you can do it. Alright, switching over to Realmworks here, you can see I've already got the Goblin player race up. I've accessed that through my mechanics reference. Just gone into my monster manual, into my dangers where I've got all my monsters linked. You can see here that I've played around with goblins quite a bit. So I've basically got the standard goblin stats and the goblin boss that come from the monster manual. Then I've actually created some custom ones. These are all based off some alternative options that I found out there in the community. And basically what I've been doing is I've been creating my monsters as creating one Hero Labs portfolio for every different type of monster. So there's really only one monster associated with each one portfolio file. And in my head I thought that was a great way to do it. It looks really quite easy to use. You just go down here and obviously pick which one you want. You can click the little button and off they go into the Hero Labs and add them to your fight. But we got talking on the forums and someone pointed out that there probably is a better way to do it. So I thought we'd just basically have a look at that tonight and see how all that works. So basically the suggestion is to find one Hero Labs portfolio either dedicated to all of your monsters. That's one way you can do it. I think it'd be a bit messy, or in my case I'm going to do one portfolio based on one monster race, and then I'm going to add some variants to it. So usually when you first come to a screen it looks like this. You got your play button and you click to integrate, you click edit, and that brings in the option here to basically edit the details. I'm going to click that button and that will open Hero Labs. Hero Lab, as someone's pointed out, always add an S. Alright, so we're in Hero Lab now, and basically you can see here I've only got one character on this sheet. He's a goblin. Yeah, he's got his special abilities there. You can see he's got his standard weapon ring. So we're going to go ahead and basically create a duplicate of this goblin. And we're going to make him a little bit tougher and a little bit more goblinish. So this goblin's lucky enough to found some plate armor. He probably thinks he's really, really special because he's wearing his plate. Obviously he's wearing plate armor, he's not going to be as dexterous, so I'll knock him down a little bit there. We'll go over here and we'll give him some plate. The fact that this is greyed out means that he's not proficient in it. And you know, goblin probably shouldn't be proficient in plate armor. I'm going to click this button here so we don't have to pay any money for the plate. This guy doesn't have any cash on him. We'll tick this to basically put the plate on. So here you can see basically the plate is been worn, which, you know, he's not proficient in, but he can still wear it. Just means he's going to have disadvantage on any ability checks, saving throws, or attack rolls that require strength or dexterity, and he's unable to cast spells. So that's fine. Goblins are meant to be a little bit interesting. The fun part about this is obviously he's going to be harder to hit for the players, and you can see here his AC has gone up to 18. So that's fine. We are playing around here with Realmworks, so I'm just going to, just on my other screen, looking in Google for goblin wearing plate armor. Here we go. Here's my little goblin in a plate armor, so I'm just going to replace his picture. So he probably thinks he's really special. And there we go. We've now got a goblin with AC 18. He's going to be a little bit harder to move around. He's probably not going to hit any harder, so we'll probably change that as well. Let's see if we can add something that's a little bit more interesting. He might just pick up a Morning Star. He's probably going to need both hands to pick up his Morning Star. Alright, there we go. So now I've got a goblin wearing plate with a Morning Star. He's going to hit a little bit harder. He's going to be harder to hit, but he's going to obviously run around like a bit of probably an idiot. And all we have to do now is basically close this file, click save, and we go back to RealmWorks, and you can see this new option here popped up. It's basically coming along and saying, would you like to save the changes or would you like to keep editing? I'm going to click save because I'm finished. And in here, I'm going to go various stats, goblin, and that way I can keep an idea of what's actually on this one. So I'm just going to click save. Alright, so that's now saved, that's now embedded into my database, that's done. And just to show you now what that could really do is I'm going to open up Hero Lab. Just going to open a file quickly. This is my standard party. Alright, so this was what you would have open. If you're starting your game every night, you'd have it open with all your character sheets. And then we can basically come back over to here and, let's pretend we were running an adventure. Maybe we're in the Pirate Cove. What have we actually got in here? Don't actually have any goblins. But, let's say that there was a goblin in here. The automatic linking would actually work. Reading through my text, telling my players where I am, I click the goblin link. Takes me straight to this page here. In here, you can see plates picked up automatically. Click the button here to integrate that into Hero Labs, and boom, I've now got a goblin plate. So I can go, I want, let's say 5 goblins and 1 goblin or in plate. Click OK. Start my combat. And there we go. I've now got 1 goblin in plate and some 5 standard goblins. We can click New Combat to engage initiative, and off we go. Let our fight begin. So that's obviously one way you can really set things up. So you've got a lot of choice at your fingertips instead of just playing around with a standard boring monster manual goblin that everyone's probably figured out his stats after they've shot them a few times. Hero Labs basically lets you modify those really simply and quickly, and give you a good idea of what you can do with it. So let's end that program there. We'll get back out of here. So super simple. That's now available for every time I play goblins and I link them from RealmWorks. That goblin is there. He's now available forever. And I can add as many variants as I want, or as few variants as I want. And I think that's a really powerful feature. Previously to RealmWorks, I used to, find these variations out on the internet. I'd print them out. I'd, keep them in a binder. The binder would get dirty and messy, and you'd just forget that you had them there. This here, every time I play against a goblin, it's now going to remind me that that goblin is there and give me a reason to introduce him to combat. So yeah, that's just another way that you can do things within RealmWorks. There is another school of thought that people basically go through. You see in my mechanics reference, I've gone through and obviously created all of these monsters here, and that is a way that you can do things. There is another school of thought, and that's where when you're prepping your adventure, you're coming over to, let's say, the Cove. What is this? The Pirates Cove. This is one of the ones from the Book of Lairs, from the Tome of Beasts. So another way you can do things, if you wanted to set things up differently, is you could actually come into your encounter and basically come in here and go, let's add a snippet below. Here's a list of all the snippets that you can actually add. I'll give you an idea of what you can do. So there's some really powerful options here. I haven't actually played with that. What does that do? Oh, yep. So I'm going to add a Hero Labs portfolio. I'm going to call this the Cave Entrance Encounter. click save. Just going to get rid of that encounter type, but no, that was silly. I clicked a link there to clean out any empty options, because the cave entrance encounter didn't have any content in it. It reset that, so I just rebuild it again. Save it. I'm going to click this button here to create a new data off of this. Alright, we'll load that up. Okay, so coming back over here, we're going to keep editing. What do we got here? We need 4 acolytes. I'm going to come up to my encounter builder. Search for acolytes. We need 4 of those. Yep. What have we got? We got 2 elf spies. Berserker. You can see here I'm just basically building the encounter. You could get a gibbering mouther in here, or 6 bandits, so we're going to add them in as well. There we go. Alright, so we'll import this all into the Hero Labs file. Alright, and you can see here that this is basically all going to be set up for all of these guys. The unnamed hero was just the one that came with it at the start. We'll just delete him. There we go. So now we've got acolytes, we've got bandits, we've got berserkers. And if we go back here, I think, was there any named objects? No, it doesn't look like it. They're all standard plebs. That's alright. Alright, so they're all in here. When you take them by default, they don't have pictures, and that's obviously for copyright issues. So you could obviously put these in here. I just generally do a Google search. And one of the things that I really like about the way I do monsters in the system is that I don't have to do this every time. Once I've set something up the first time, it's generally okay. But just to show you how easy it is to put a picture in. There we go. Alright, so he's a race, he's an acolyte, he gets an extra language, so he's going to go with common. He doesn't have an alignment, so I'll just go chaotic neutral. And there we go. Now you would have to do this for every NPC that you're setting up in your fire, which is one of the reasons I don't necessarily like the way that I'm doing it now. There is another way you could do this that would make this a little bit simpler, and that you could actually come into Hero Labs and create your acolyte, set it up how it's meant to be set up, put your picture in here and save it into a folder on your computer. That would certainly work, so that the next time you import, you don't import it from the show encounter builder, but you'd actually import it from your folder. That is a way that you could probably reduce some of your work. But whichever way you go, the point is that you can create entire encounter folders. And we're just going to basically exit now and save. We're going to save that. Alright, so now when we're actually running the encounter, they come into the cave entrance. There's a whole heap of options in the cave entrance here that they're going to fight. So we just press the button, and now we've got a whole list of options that we can bring in. And they're all numbered, and we can just basically import all. Generally you would do this, hang on a sec. Oh, that's right. You would generally reset your monster list. before you would do this. And there we go. So now we press the button, import all. We can go over to Game Master, show tactical console, new combat, initiatives rolled, and off we go. We can start fighting. You can see the pictures aren't here, except for the one that I did enter. So that is another way that you can do it. And some people might enjoy that. I think this would probably be suitable for people who maybe aren't making as heavy use of the tool as I am. I'm certainly more favourable of having my database built up ahead of time within Realmworks with the pictures, with all the weapons set, all of the options you could possibly have set for the weapon, and I just keep reusing that over and over again. But I certainly do like what I've basically just shown you first here, was where you can really come in and set up multiple options for different monsters. I think that's a really good idea, and I think moving forward I will certainly do that. So that was this option here where you can have, you know, goblin and a variant goblin. I think that's quite good. So again, really powerful, really simple way to customize your battles, make them a bit more interesting. Hopefully throw a few spanners at your players and keep them obviously scared of little goblins, as they should be. So check it out. I hope this helps. Leave any comments.